Hi there, welcome back to the Transfer Show. Now it's time to go around all 20 Premier League clubs. Dharmesh, where's the best place to start?
Oh, look, we've already revealed it. We'll start at Arsenal, James. The focus at Arsenal is on sales. Offers will be considered for the likes of Zinchenko, Vieira, Lokonga and Reece Nelson.
Aston Villa remain interested in another deal for PSG's Marco Asensio.
Bournemouth have completed the signing of defender Bafode Diakite from Lille in a deal worth £34.3 million.
Brentford's proposed deal to sign Dango Ouattara is not expected to progress until Bournemouth find a replacement for the forward.
Manchester United have not had any official contact with Brighton for midfielder Carlos Biliba.
Burnley have more than 40 senior players on their books, so incomings will have to be balanced with outgoings.
Manchester United are expecting a formal offer from Chelsea for Alejandro Garnacho. United value Garnacho at £50 million.
And this just into us in the last few moments. There remains a gap in the valuation between Liverpool and Crystal Palace over Mark Guehi.
Everton currently unwilling to meet Leicester's demands for Abdul Fatowu. There is a gap in valuation. Everton considering other options.
Fulham have been quiet so far this summer. They're willing to pay a club record fee to sign Shakhtar Donetsk winger Kevin. There is still a significant gap in valuation.
Leeds United have agreed a deal in principle to sign Dominic Calvert-Lewin. The former Everton striker is a free agent.
Liverpool are in advanced talks with Parma for teenage centre-back Giovanni Leone. The fee under discussion is understood to be between 25 to 30 million pounds.
Manchester City want Ederson to stay at the club and remain their number one keeper amid links with PSG's Gianluigi Donnarumma.
AC Milan have held positive talks with Manchester United over the signing of striker Rasmus Højlund. Højlund himself has yet to decide if Milan is the right move for him.
Newcastle United target Johan Wissa has been training away from the first team squad at Brentford.
Nottingham Forest are deciding whether to go back in for Ipswich Town forward Amari Hutchinson or move on to other targets. Ipswich have no intention to sell Hutchinson and value him higher than £35 million.
Sunderland teenager Tom Lavery has joined Northern Irish side Cliftonville on a season-long loan.
Tottenham in action against PSG in the Super Cup shortly. They remain interested in Crystal Palace's Ibera Eza. He has been amongst their top number 10 targets this summer.
West Ham United yet to return with an improved offer for Southampton midfielder Mateus Fernandes. An opening bid of £30 million was rejected by Southampton. They want closer to £50 million.
Wolves summer signing Fer Lopez says he's not joined the club to replace Mateus Cunha. The attacking midfielder arrived from Celta Vigo in June and says he'll be playing a different role to the Brazilian, who's now moved to Manchester United.
Right, we're going to talk Johan Wissa and Newcastle. It's going to happen, Dharmesh?
If he has his way and if Newcastle have their way, yes, it will happen, but a lot to get through before that does actually materialise. As far as today is concerned, we think that Johan Wissa was training away from the first team squad at Brentford. His representatives, as we have been reporting, are in the UK. They've been in dialogue with the hierarchy at Brentford, we're told, over the next steps. Wissa now kind of in a holding pattern. He's just waiting for Brentford to find replacements before any move to Newcastle United can come to fruition. It's a bit like a chain when you're buying a house, actually, because he's waiting for Brentford to get a replacement. One of the replacements that they want to bring in for Brian Mbeumo is Ouattara from Bournemouth, but Bournemouth don't want to lose Ouattara until they bring in a replacement. So if one little link of that chain falls away, when you're trying to buy a house, it's the same thing, James. Now, his feeling is unchanged. As I've mentioned before, he wants to go to Newcastle and he's got no intention of playing for Brentford again.
Right, OK. Aston Villa. We're reporting that they're trying to bring Marco Asensio back. Does that clear the way for Jacob Ramsey to go to Newcastle?
Potentially. One thing we know that Villa are likely to need to make a sale in this transfer window. Earlier on in the summer, they were fined by UEFA for breaching their financial rules, and it means they need to come out of this summer transfer window with a profit. They've just signed Evan Gossond as well, a deal worth around £25 million, I think. So Newcastle have been in talks around signing Jacob Ramsey. He's been a long-term target. No formal offer as of yet. Villa don't want to sell Ramsey, and they've offered him a new contract, but he's got 2 years left on his deal there. But it feels like he could be the one to potentially go if there are to be sales. There has been interest in the likes of Ollie Watkins and John McGinn. They're considered not for sale. The Villa bosses want to try and extend his time at the club. He's an academy graduate. But of course, as an academy graduate, any money they get from him would count as pure profit. This deal for Marco Asensio, really interesting. I thought it was brilliant at the back end of last season. No talks between the two clubs yet. Villa are looking at their forward options in this market. He was so impressive in the second half of last season. Still a PSG player, doesn't seem to be in their plans whatsoever. He's not even in the squad for their game against Tottenham this evening.
Last part of the transfer show already. We're going to talk Bournemouth now, and there's been a deal. James, tell us.
Yes, they signed a centre-back, Bafodé Diakité from Lille, an expensive deal. It's the second most expensive deal in their history, in total worth around £35 million. Only Evan Nielsen has cost Bournemouth more. He links straight up with Andoni Iraola's side. They face Liverpool in the Friday Night Football live on Sky Sports. We wait to see whether or not he'll play a part, because you'd think Bournemouth would want him to, because of the departures they've seen over the course of the last few weeks. He'll wear the number 18 shirt, and he comes in at a time where Ilya Zabani has just gone to Paris Saint-Germain.
Let's talk about those departures then, because Bournemouth have sold over £150 million worth of talent this summer. Proof that their plan's working, no doubt. But have they let too much talent go? Well, Henry Winter joined Dharmesh on the Transfer Talk podcast earlier and said this.
But I think it also shows something about the excellence, the culture of excellence at the club, the player development qualities, which will obviously attract others. The fact that Milos Krkić is now at a £40 million fullback on the back of a brilliant season at Bournemouth under Iraola. Dean Howson, he's 20, is he? I mean, you know, what an accomplished player he is, going for 50 million. I mean, I had the great pleasure of interviewing Zabani last season or the season before. Very likeable, responsibility taking individual, as a lot of the Ukrainians are, very aware of the world as well as his own sort of professional world. And again, you know, sort of good luck to him. But I don't detect amongst Bournemouth fans any particular doom and gloom. I think probably pride in their recruitment, pride in their player development in terms of the coaching that the players have absorbed and improved under Iraola, and the excitement of seeing another good player coming in, other good players coming in.
See, this is fascinating for me. Does it make Bournemouth more attractive that these players have come in and then gone? Or are they jeopardising actually progressing as a club and getting into Europe and challenging further up the league?
I think this is two ways of looking at this, because £150 million, as you mentioned, in those sales. But you've seen players come in like Howson, Kerkez and Zabani, and they've moved on to clubs like Liverpool, Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain. So if you're a player and you're deciding whether you want to go to Bournemouth or not, on the one hand, you're thinking, well, they sell all their best players. Why would I want to go there? What is their ambition? But from a personal ambition perspective, if you're not getting that move to a massive club, with due respect to Bournemouth, straight away, you could think, well, hold on, they've got this record of bringing in players and they sell them to some of the biggest clubs in the world. Why do we not join Bournemouth? Because then we might have that opportunity to be nurtured in a way and coached in a way that's going to make us attractive to the biggest clubs in the world. So I personally think, because of the way they scout and the way they recruit, I think they very rarely leave themselves short.
Do you think Bournemouth fans would agree with that, though?
I think they'll be delighted with what they were able to do last season with these players. It was the most Premier League points they've ever picked up, the joint highest league position in their history. I think there will be the fear, because when you lose three members of your back line and the goalkeeper was there last season, yes, they replaced the left-back, they've now got a centre-back in, and they've got the goalkeeper in the form of Petrovic, but clearly at this moment in time they look weaker than they did last season. But for Bournemouth, they want to be able to continue attracting players like this, and the only way they do that is by, clearly these players will have aspirations of playing in the Premier League, but a number of these players, we see where Howson's gone. He's gone to Real Madrid, Kerkez has gone to Liverpool, Zabani gone to the Champions League winners. These players and the representatives of these players want to be able to see they can get in the Premier League at Bournemouth, but if they do well and they hit their targets, and by them hitting their targets, Bournemouth are hitting their targets in terms of where they're finishing in the Premier League, then they'll get the move and there won't be resistance from the club. And if the market value is there, clubs are willing to pay it, they will not stand in their way. That is why Bournemouth is becoming more attractive than potentially other clubs right now in the Premier League, who make it difficult for the players to leave when other teams come in with big money.
Fascinating. Right. We'll talk more about that as the window progresses. We've got to talk Marcus Rashford now. Now, he's been speaking after completing his loan move from Manchester United to Barcelona. This is what he said on the Rest is Football podcast, and trust me, he has not held back.
At times, I feel like United have just been... We're hungry to win, so we'll always try to adapt and to sign players that fit this system. But like, it's reactionary. If your direction's always changing, you can't expect to be able to win the league. People say we've been in a transition for years. To be in a transition, you have to start the transition. So it's like the actual transition's not started yet. So like when Liverpool went through this, they got Klopp, they stuck with him. They didn't win in the beginning.
True.
Do you know what I mean? People only remember his final few years when he was, competing with City and winning the biggest trophies. Didn't win in the beginning.
Really tough time.
So it's like, to start a transition, you have to make a plan and stick to it. I feel like we've had that many different managers and different ideas and different like strategies in order to win. You end up in the middle of, you end up in no man's land.
No man's land. James, has he got a point?
I'm not sure he necessarily does, because I think United have given the managers that he's had a decent period of time to try and turn things around. Erik ten Hag got 2 and a bit seasons. Ruben Amorim has been given time now. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had a really long period of time. And
but you've just proven his point.
Window.
You keep naming different managers. That's his point.
But they got enough time to show themselves and be given back in the transfer market. All those managers were, and things didn't work out. And by the way, Marcus Rashford didn't cover himself in much glory over the course of the last few years. Had a great first season under Erik ten Hag, but didn't necessarily perform, didn't necessarily train at the level required. So for Marcus Rashford, he's only there on loan at the moment. He'll have to return to the football club because no one wants to buy Marcus Rashford right now.
I think he has a point in one way, in that since David Gill and Sir Alex Ferguson left the club, they have gone through a number of managers, but without a proper structure. Now it seems he's saying, people are saying United have always been in transition. You can only be in transition when the transition starts. It feels this time that I know we keep saying it feels different this time, but this time there is a structure in place. Manchester United have got a technical director, they've got a sporting director, they've got a recruitment team, whereby they're all working together, and they've said to Ruben Amorim, effectively, you are the guy. Any other manager of a big club, you finish 15th in the league, you're in danger of losing your job.
Yeah.
He was never in danger of losing his job because they knew that the problems that Manchester United have had have been built up over a number of years, and a squad that effectively has been a mishmash of a number of managers. And Ruben Amorim has inherited all of that. And now it's got to the point where we're talking about departures and Manchester United not being able to sell well, but maybe they're thinking, is now the time just to say, we've got to move on. If we make the loss and we take the hit, because Manchester United need to start again, and now the transition will begin.
If they finish 15th this season, does Amorim get sacked and we are once again going in a different direction at Manchester United?
I think he'll be under pressure as Manchester United manager. Of course, 15th is not going to be anywhere near good enough for Ruben Amorim. It just depends whether, and it's churlish to say if you finish 15th and if you've made progress or not, but it will all depend on what happens during the season, because there are different competitions, there are different ways, there are different... I don't know what's going to happen. Are there going to be players injured? Are they going to give him that slack? We just don't know at the moment. It's very hard to predict that.
James, are you surprised that a player on loan, has said what he said?
A player on loan who hasn't shown anything yet at Barcelona either. We've not seen him in a Barcelona shirt. I'm surprised when he's still contracted to Manchester United that he'd make comments like that when he has played a role in United's demise over the course of the last few years. It's not just been on Marcus Rashford, but he's been a figurehead at the football club and he's not performing at the level which has helped Ruben Amorim and Manchester United get back to the level they need to be at.
Absolutely fascinating. Right, we've got transfers. Good morning transfers coming up at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Good morning transfer talk at midday. And, of course, transfer show back 5 and 7 tomorrow. Asmir Begovic, the guest. Mark Gay, no doubt, will be spoken about then. He's coming up next on Sky Sports News.